going on, Jets fans? Welcome into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we have a major update coming in from Josina Anderson on the Jets head coaching search. So I cannot wait to give you guys my thoughts on that and tell you guys everything you guys need to know that is going on within the walls of New York. But before we dive into it, I was looking at the analytics here at Chat Sports, and our Giants Now channel, a wagon here on YouTube, has almost 64,000 subscribers, and us, a brand new channel here at the Jets Report. We just have over 1,100. So if you guys want to help close that gap and maybe win the New York sub battle, hit that subscribe button, lock us in, and we will have you posted with everything you need to know around the New York Jets head coaching search. Trying to get you guys a video every single day. So hit that subscribe button, lock us in. Don't miss a thing around your New York Jets. So this report came out a couple days ago, but I wanted to do a little bit more of a deep dive on it. So Josina Anderson, she tweeted out saying, there's one league source I talked to who entering this week and said they feel like the Saints and Jets are going to end up battling it out for Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. Now, this has been very well reported, even dating back to like November and October, that the Saints will have some interest in Aaron Glenn. It makes a lot of sense. He has a connection there. And everybody who does like head coach predictions, where do you guys think this guy's going to go? Everybody is pretty much chalking it up that Aaron Glenn will head down to New Orleans. But if he is, on the table, maybe the Saints go the Mike McCarthy route, or they find another option like Joe Brady, who also has a connection to the New Orleans area, and Aaron Glenn's on the table. I would absolutely love it for the New York Jets. I think this guy has been incredibly impressive this season, considering all the injuries that the Lions defense has suffered. I think they had 7 of their week 1 starters put on IR, and they're still fantastic. I mean, third down percentage. I think that's a great way to, look at a defensive coordinator in these big spots, third and longs. What type of plays are you dialing up and how successful you are? Well, the Lions this year, even with all of the injuries, they rank first in third down percentage. And if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, Vikings versus Lions, Sunday Night Football for the number 1 seed for the NFC North, Aaron Glenn took Kevin O'Connell to school in that game. He was fantastic. He really trusted his defense, let their guys play one-on-one on the outsides, which I honestly did not anticipate being the case considering how good the Vikings, wide receiver room is. But Aaron Glenn has been very impressive. And I think about Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, every, fan of a team that needs a head coach wants one of these two guys. And fans are clamoring over Ben Johnson. They all want him, the young, offensive-minded head coach. Like that buzzword, everybody goes to it when talking about head coaches. But in my opinion, I think Aaron Glenn has been just as impressive, or if more impressive, than Ben Johnson this season. Ben Johnson, he's got the best offensive line in the league. He's got 2 great running backs. He's got great wide receivers, and he's got a very, very good quarterback in Jared Goff, and he is fantastic. I think he is going to be a hit as a head coach. But I think with what Aaron Glenn has done, considering all the injuries that the Lions have had defensively this season, I think he has been just as impressive, if not more impressive this year. And again, I would not be, concerned also with this about getting a culture guy. I think Aaron Glenn would be a culture guy 100%. I think he could be a culture setter. He's got a toughness to him. He's got a physicality kind of presence to him where his defense, they're flying around the football field. And I always think it's great when you see a defensive coordinator. Does that defense play like the personality of their coordinator? Well, that's the Lions to a T. They're a physical group. Kirby Joseph was actually just talking about it with Kay Adams, saying, talking about how teams always lose the following week after playing the Lions. And Kirby Joseph just said, we are beating people up out there. We are the more physical group, and I think he could do the same thing here in New York. But in my opinion, I think the 2 top candidates for the Jets head coaching job are Aaron Glenn and Brian Flores. I want the Jets to go defensive here. If you look at their talent, Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, you're really, 2 of your blue chippers with Garrett Wilson, obviously on the offensive side of the field, but you got 2 blue chippers defensively. I would want them to go the defensive mind route over the young offensive genius. That's just where I'm at right now. Obviously, we can all have different opinions, and this can change, but talking about Brian Flores here, I mean, he did a number this season in Minnesota, and the Vikings defense actually 2 years ago, before they hired Brian Flores, who's only been there for 2 years, they had one of the worst defenses in the National Football League when the Vikings were 13-4. They won all those games, one-score games, and their offense was very good. But defensively, they were terrible under Ed Donatel. And after 2 seasons, the Vikings defense completely turned around. They're one of the best units in the league, top 5 in scoring, top 5 in third down percentage, and second in rushing yards per game. And the thing about the Vikings defense, it's not like they had blue chippers all over the field. Like, they didn't have a Myles Garrett. They didn't have a TJ Watt. Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, they're great. But they only had one player make an all-pro team, and that was Andrew Van Ginkel making the second all-pro team. And point being here, I felt like the Vikings had B-level talent, but Flores had them playing at an A level. And I think that is all about Flores. That's all about this game. Obviously, you got to give a lot of credit to the players there, but I think Flores deserves a ton of, or majority of the credit on the Vikings defense performing well. And, speaking about Flores, I was thinking about these two guys because we've seen Flores elevate, players this past season for the Vikings defense. Could you imagine what he would do with Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams? I mean, those two would have all pro seasons. It would be awesome for those guys. So I'm sure those two, if they're chiming in on the head coach search, I'm sure they would love a guy like Flores or Aaron Glenn. But speaking about those two, I want you guys to pick a head coach for me. Get down in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts. Give me an AG for Aaron Glenn or give me a BF for Brian Flores. If you had to make the decision, who would you choose as the next Jets head coach? All right, let's dive into an offensive candidate here. And we got this update from Albert Breer this morning. He tweeted out, Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith is interviewing for the Bears head coaching job this morning and for the Jets head coaching jobs tomorrow. So if we get more of an update on that tomorrow, we'll have video for you guys ASAP. But I also have this from Dan Graziano saying Arthur Smith could be the front runner for the Jets. So this interview tomorrow is huge, but a little bit more on Arthur Smith. He led the Falcons to 3 straight 7-10 seasons before he was fired after the 2023 campaign. And then this past season, he took over as the Steelers offensive coordinator, and he did an all right job. I think he got a good amount out of a limited personnel grouping for the Steelers offense. Like, they had Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, not great quarterbacks there, and they didn't have a good offensive line by any means. Not a lot of weapons on the outside. Najee Harris is a good running back, but he's not a great running back. And I actually thought he did a good job of just getting the most out of that group. But still, I would rather have the Jets go a culture defensive head coach. I just, when I think about the New York Jets and I think about what has made them so great, it is having a toughness in your culture, having a physical defense. So that's why I got my rankings out right now for who I would want as the next Jets head coach. I'm going to go Brian Flores, number 1 on my list for all the reasons we just talked about. Then I got Aaron Glenn at number 2. Honestly, it should be more 1A, 1B with Flores and Glenn. But then I will go Ben Johnson, number 3. He is going to be a hit in the National Football League. Just the Jets don't really have a good shot of landing him. Then Joe Brady, I wouldn't mind him at number 4. And then my sleeper here is still going to be Josh McCown. Just because he is not a coordinator doesn't mean he was a very impactful part of that Vikings offense, playing at the level they did this season, which was really exceeding expectations to what they had coming into the season. But that's where I'm going to rank them. I got Flores 1, Glenn 2, Johnson 3, Brady 4, and Josh McCown 5. But you guys let me know, who do you want as the next Jets head coach? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And guys, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. See you guys next time. As always, go Jets.